This is the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Our Voice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Our Voice 360. Let's go! Hey everybody, and welcome to the show Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. I'm your man Chad Bumgarner, 1/3 of the trio. I have with me my man Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
And my man Mike Brown, the Don Dada.
Blessings.
And with that, let's go ahead and get into it. Pete, read that right there. Might as well go ahead and get it on it.
Our Voice 60 is sponsored by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great. And if you would like to be a sponsor or get in contact with us at Our Voice 360, please don't hesitate to send us an email at 360@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Hey, Mike.
Yo.
Hit us up with some of that inspiration, brother.
Come on, Mike.
Okay, so a lot of people tend to say that hindsight is 2020. You know, when people speak of being blessed, they usually say, I was blessed back when this happened. Back then I was blessed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But people need to understand, man, that you're blessed right now in the present.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The fact that you up, you breathing, you walking, you talking, you're listening, you're blessed.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't take into account the fact of being blessed in the moment.
Wow.
And I think that's what a lot, you know, and I'm guilty of that. I was guilty of that as well. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, a lot of people take things for granted and don't realize how blessed they are.
That is true.
You know?
That is true. I mean, because tomorrow's not promised. I mean, actually, hell, to be honest, the rest of the day is not promised. You know what I mean? So, like you said, Mike, every time that you're able to take a breath and exhale, every time that you're able to turn your head or smell something or taste something, walk, do everything within your own power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It is a blessing, but it's so easy. And I guess because the devil is so busy, but it's so easy to take stuff for granted because one of the tricks that the devil does is keeps us busy.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't take the time to, like the old folks say, stop and smell the flowers, smell the roses or whatever. And but you're right. You know, we're blessed at the very present, not only what he did in the past, because you know, because a lot of times somebody will call somebody, let me tell you what God did for me, but they a lot of times they speaking what just happened or sometime in the past. So I get what you're saying, man. We blessed at that moment too. We're blessed in the present as well as the past.
Instead of saying what God did for me, let's talk about what God is doing for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we are not recognize our blessings because of circumstances. Whatever we're in at that moment may not feel like we're being blessed, you know, or feel like we're in a great situation. Because if things are going bad and things doesn't look positive and things, you know, we're all guilty of looking at things, you know, negatively sometimes and saying and not thinking about things in a positive light, because each one of us go through certain things. And I think our circumstances sometimes dictates our lack of appreciation of the blessings that we do have.
Mm.
But once we become to the realization of, doggone it, I woke up this morning. My mindset is always, if I wake up, I'm gonna have a good day.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
care. I don't care what comes. If I wake up, I'm gonna have a good day. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's nothing gonna stop me from having a good day. But sometimes people have certain situations or certain issues or whatever, they don't look at it that way. But once we come to the realization that, if we're able, like you said, Mike, if we're able to walk, talk, get up in the mornings, do the things that we normally do on a daily basis, we have to have some type of revelation of that we are blessed and we are
Yeah,
walking in blessings, man. I'm telling you.
I agree.
that's it. And when you learn to do that, like, and I often think of my situation, like when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. You know what I'm saying? I woke up in 2000, I was blind. You know what I mean? In '06, they gave me 6 months to live. But my thing is this: had God not allowed me to become sick, I would never be in the position I am today.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I took that time, went back to school, got my degree, opened my company, bought another house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's the thing that my mom would always tell me is, in order to get to where you want to be in life, if God showed you what you had to go through to actually get there, would you still want it?
Oh, 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 oh. Woo wee. Talk
Yeah.
about it, Miss. Talk about it, Miss Rue.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
If you knew you was gonna lose your parent or your loved one and had to do this and end up getting locked up, but in the end, God put you where He wanted you to be, would you still choose to get there?
Mm. That kind of goes into where he says, "Don't be covetous of your neighbor,"
That's right.
because the thing is, you may see your neighbors being blessed, but you don't know what they went through to get to that point.
That's right.
Even if he wanted to give you that insight, I bet you think twice before you say, "Man, I wish I had their house or their car or their
Mm-hmm.
life."
I've corrected people so many times on that level right there, Chad, because I tell them, look, you don't want to go through what somebody else had to go through to get what they have, because you don't know. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You
Exactly.
have no idea. Just because you smiling now, you did a lot of crying to get that smile.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Trust and believe. Nine times out of 10.
it's true.
But that's just, I don't know, man. I just think people need to really recognize life as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And not as it was.
Yeah. And count your blessings, man.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, especially in this time right now with COVID and things that's going on in the world, man. We should be extra heightened of the blessings that we have with
Yeah.
all the foolishness that's going on now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That I could say in my case that nobody in my family has had COVID, not to my knowledge. I mean,
Yeah.
which is a blessing. I haven't gotten sick. Nothing. My wife, my grandchild, my stepdaughters, my homies. I mean, the people that I know haven't gotten sick or going through certain things. I mean, we not only walk in our blessings, but walk in and see the blessings of others.
Yeah.
I mean, and we can feed.
Say that again,
Yeah.
Pete. We can what?
I said we can feed off of other people's blessings also. We can
Oh,
see
right.
them strive, yeah, see them striving and doing well for themselves. And I mean, and take that as something as something to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Yeah.
my homies are doing well. I should be feeling proud of their blessings. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And that also pushes us forward.
Yeah, the word speaks on that, man. When your neighbor has been blessed, you're supposed to be happy for your neighbor because you got to
Hmm.
remember, if God did it for them, He can do it for you too.
That's right.
He can do it for you too.
I had a pastor tell me, or told the congregation one time, he said, if you're in a circle with 5 people, or however many people you want to be in a circle with, don't get mad because everybody else in the circle is getting blessed. That only means the blessing is coming around to your turn.
That's right. You said to be patient.
Mm-hmm. Be
But
patient.
in the meantime, rejoice with the people in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, Mike, appreciate that inspiration, man.
Yes,
Very
sir.
insightful, my brother. Always.
Every week.
Always. Now, sports brief. Sports brief.
Sports.
Hey, appreciate that
What's up,
intro.
sports brief, man?
Hey, I appreciate that intro, Kings. NBA playoffs is the thing to be right now.
Yeah.
As of last night of this recording, the West has finally been settled. We'll have Clippers and the Houston Rockets against the Los Angeles Lakers, and in the East, they've been going on for a couple games. The Boston Celtics are up 2-0 against the Toronto Raptors, which they play as this recording. They play tonight of this recording, and the Miami Heat, as of last night, are up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Bucks, who are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Pertaining to the game that took place, the Bucks and the Heat last night, and also the Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder, 2 great competitive basketball games that was marred by officiating at the end of both games, which kind of put a damper on the games. But again, with in the Eastern Conference, they're pretty much being dominated by and the Raptors, and it's not even being close as far as the Celtics and Toronto. The Celtics have pretty much dominated and had their will with Toronto, which is very surprising to me because, Toronto is a very, very tough basketball team, defending NBA champions, of course, and we all know they're minus Kawhi Leonard, but they still have the pieces and the parts to compete for a championship. So we'll see tonight when they play the Celtics, see if they can get a win, a quality win tonight, which they really need, because if they go down 3-0 against the Celtics, it's pretty much a wrap after that, and they possibly would get swept. So Toronto has a lot on their plate tonight to beat the Celtics, but I'm going to give the edge to Toronto tonight. I think they're a tough veteran team that can come through tonight and get a win against Boston. Also, tonight will be the first game of the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't think Denver has a chance. I really don't. I mean, as much as I like Jokic and Jamal Murray, I just don't think they have enough firepower to compete with the Clippers. I will give them one game in this series. I think it'll be a gentleman's sweep, a 5-game series, 4-1 Los Angeles. Los Angeles is just too deep. They're just too deep of a ball club. I mean, potentially they may be having Beverly coming back, which is the anchor of their defense. So, and of course you have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Montrezl Harrell, Williams, or AKA Lemon Pepper Lou, as some folk like to call him. They're just too deep of a ball club for the Nuggets. And I'm predicting a Clippers win. And condolences to 2 legends in their respective sports. First, the legendary coach John Thompson of Georgetown, who passed away. Still haven't found out what he passed away from, but he did pass away. All I can say is legend. He's legendary. Started at Georgetown in 1972 and built that program up to eventually, of course, in winning the national championship in 1984 with Patrick Ewing and that ball club. But we didn't know Georgetown had a basketball team until got there.
Yeah, that's true.
And If any of you follow me on social media, I posted something the other day when we all found out that he passed. That the reason because I'm a coach, of course, everybody knows that, or most people know that. The reason why I wear a towel over my shoulder while I coach is because of John Thompson. He is the reason why I put the towel on my shoulder and coach with a towel on my shoulder. He was a big influence on me as far as growing up, being a basketball fan, being a fan of the Big East. I'm a huge Syracuse fan, so I know Georgetown well from watching them play and battle against each other for years and years in the Big East. And he just stood out, not only because he's a giant, but just the love that he showed for his players. And a lot of people were saying on social media, a lot of people thought Georgetown was a HBCU. Mm-hmm. Because that's how black it was. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's how black Georgetown was, because you know, basketball in the years of of John Thompson, he didn't recruit white players. I mean, that's just being real. And he didn't. And a lot of people thought Georgetown was HBCU because he put the black imprint on that school.
I always thought it was.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So when people found out, you know, that Georgetown is not a black school or HBCU, people were shocked. But that's what John Thompson put in front of the people.
Right.
He put this black product in front of the people, which made people thought it was an HBCU. Another great thing John Thompson did for that university and his players, a 97% graduation rate.
Wow.
97% graduation rate in the year that he coached Georgetown. That is unbelievable.
That is.
That is upper echelon type stuff. Legendary type
that
stuff.
shows that he truly cares for the total athlete and not just the athletics. He cares about the guys competing on the court as well as off the court. So that's huge.
Yeah, he and like I said, he just legendary coach, and just, I mean, my condolences to his family and prayers for his family, and also a giant in Major League Baseball passed away. Legendary Mets pitcher, Cy Young Award winner, dominant pitcher during the 60s, 70s, and man, he was one of the greats. Hall of Famer Tom Seaver.
Okay.
Yeah, legendary pitcher, Hall of Famer, of course. He was that guy for the Mets. He fantastic pitcher, very dominant. But yeah, those two giants of their professions passed away this week. And I don't know about you guys, I'm tired of 2020.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I want to make it to the end.
Yeah, I want to make it to the. But whoo, man, some of these.
It's been a heck of a year.
It's been a heck of a year, especially in the sports world with some of these untimely deaths. Oh, and I must not forget another untimely death of Clifford Robinson.
Yeah.
If you guys remember Cliff Robinson, who his claim to fame was, you know, playing for the Portland Trail Blazers. You know, played for a couple of other teams after, but he made his hay in Portland. Graduate of UConn, played at University of Connecticut. Another guy died young, 53 years old.
Yeah,
it's sad, man. That some of these, these on the sports side, and I'm sure we'll talk about some other passings later on in the show, but just on the athletic side, starting with Kobe, and it's been a rough year, man. It's been a rough year on the sports side, but like you said, Mike, we gonna try to make it to the end.
Yes, sir.
But rest in peace and rest in power to those three gentlemen, and blessings upon their families and prayers for their family. And that is the sports brief for the day. Chad, what do you got?
Hey, man. I know it's not on the athletic side, but I do want to send my condolences to the Bozeman family. Our king, Chadwick Bozeman, passed away from colon cancer, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
Um, Amazing brother, strong brother, very private brother who, like when we talked off air, he filmed his last 3 or 4 films knowing he had colon cancer and was battling it while he was going through it. And people on the set did not even know, from my understanding of reading some articles.
Actually, to the point that Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther, didn't know. Right. He came out and said he didn't have a clue.
Had no idea. This man was doing chemotherapy and all other types of therapy and just trying to, to beat it. But when he found out about it 4 years ago, he was already at stage 3, if I'm not mistaken. So the brother fought long. He fought hard. It's going to be hard with our king gone, because when he brought Black Panther to the masses, it was about as big as when James Brown brought the song out, "I'm Black and I'm Proud." That's how big it was. That's how profound it was on us as a people across the globe, not just United States alone. It made us feel good again about who we are. And I know that must have been a burden on him after it came out. You know what I mean? But he understood the gravity of it. And he was hoping that it would touch a lot of us the way it did. So I appreciate him for what he brought to the screen, his patience, his love of humanity. Because again, all the while he was doing this, he was going to these cancer centers where the kids had terminal cancer. Talking to kids, giving them autographs, spending time with them. Just a stand-up example of what a gentleman really is. And to him and his family, we as our Voice 360 give our condolences to the family. We pray blessings upon the family, and we just pray that the good Lord gives you guys strength to get through it and comfort to help ease some of this pain that's definitely a loss for the masses. It really is. But appreciate you, Pete, on that sports brief, man. And we're gonna move into this week's edition of Chad's Leadership Corner, where you will get tips and insight on business and leadership. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get on into it. So we're gonna start with the business side. Black woman entrepreneur partners with university to launch diversity training program. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but this is in y'all backyard. The lady goes by the name of Aisha Adams. She's the founder and CEO of Aisha Adams Media Group. She's partnered with Lenore Ryan University in North Carolina to develop a 30-hour certificate program called the Lenore Ryan Equity and Diversity Institute. The program developed over a year ago to prevent elevated racism in workplaces and communities, trains professionals on how to untangle their connections to bias, navigate socially complex workspaces, and actively pursue positive change. Due to the recent death of George Floyd and the nearly 2-month march of protesters taking a stand against systemic racism, one would think that this was a quick fix to teach business professionals how to eliminate racism in their workspaces. Aisha, who's from Asheville, North Carolina, actually, says that she developed the LREDI to provide participants with 16 hours of coursework focused on leadership, with 12 additional hours of strategy geared towards company-specific solutions. The courses will be offered September 18th through the 20th, the 25th through the 27th, and then again on October 16th through the 18th. Now she comments, LREDI is a corporate training for professionals who have an interest in cultivating spaces of diversity, equity, and inclusivity. It is also a learning opportunity for individuals who want to advance equity in their community. Participants can take each course individually, or they can take the entire program by receiving an official certificate following its successful completion, along with a company-changing skill set. LREDI participants can focus on business, education, or technology. The program has received support from the Racial Justice Coalition and Dogwood Health Trust. Now, she goes on to say, this is not a course on historical perspective, Our goal is to train people and provide them with deliverables that they can use to ensure equity and diversity are core principles in their professional and personal lives. Excuse me, she didn't say that. Michael Dempsey just said that, which is the director, the dean and director at Lenore Ryan University of Asheville. So I guess they have a satellite campus. So big ups to Aisha Adams and her quest to kind of not necessarily level the playing field, but kind of educate and enlighten others who may not, fully understand the bias and the racism that actually does take place in corporate America and just period.
Chad, I mean, and that's key. That's huge because we still haven't had that conversation, and it has to start somewhere.
It does,
and I congratulate this sister on what she's doing because for 401 years, this conversation that needs to be had hasn't been had until until it's had. I mean, until we have it, we're still going to have these same issues. So I congratulate that sister on that. That's big.
It's definitely time for some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
And I think that's her way of contributing, not necessarily through conversation, but through education. Maybe, I don't want to speak for her, but maybe she's suggesting that the conversation be had via education.
Right.
So once we invite you and educate you, now we can have these conversations because now you can start to see certain points to whereas before you were blind or either oblivious to the fact. So yeah, big ups to her. So moving on in the business aspect, here's another good one. I think I was touching on this last week. It was something else. I'll get to that. But anyway, Netflix moves $100 million to Black-led banks to help build economic opportunity in Black communities. Big move by Netflix. Big. Netflix announced that it is shifting $100 million of its cash to financial institutions that serve the Black community to draw attention to the racial wealth gap in America. The streaming giant has $5.1 billion in cash assets, and 2% of that will be moved to Black-led banks. In its public statement, the company said it will first inject $25 million into a fund managed by the Local Initiative Support Corporation, a nonprofit that develops under-invested communities. Another $10 million will go to Hope Credit Union, which provides capital for the nation's most impoverished regions in the Deep South. The news was welcomed by billionaire Robert F. Smith, who made headlines last year, if you recall, when he offered to pay off the debts of Morehouse College's graduating class. He recently expanded on that pledge by creating the Student Freedom Initiative to help students at HBCUs get affordable, low interest loans to fund higher learning. This is how we turn outrage into action, said Smith. $100 million into Black-owned banks is a giant step forward. If major U.S. companies invest 2% of profits in left-behind communities, we can close the racial wealth gap in 10 years. Recently, Netflix CEO Reed Hastings and his wife Patty Quillen personally pledged to donate $120 million to HBCU. Big ups to Netflix for being the example, for literally putting your money where your mouth is.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be devil's advocate, but I'm be devil's advocate. So they gave $100 million to the banks, correct? Now, how hard is it?
These banks serve impoverished communities. So, in other words, having this money allows the banks to invest some of this money and make more, and at the same time, give people that look like us an opportunity to get a good loan.
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah. It gives us an opportunity to get loans to whereas otherwise other major banks would turn us down.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how he was saying doing that will help erase the wealth gap within 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because now people like us have an avenue to go get a loan to start our business and to start our dreams.
Yeah. instead of investing on somebody else's.
Bingo. All right, now we're going to switch gears to the leadership side. So today I'm talking about how to lead in the midst of chaos. You got COVID outbreak. Years back, we had the 9/11 incident. And no matter what crisis or situation that we come across, people in position of authority, you have to understand how to continue to lead and manage your people effectively in the midst of chaos such as these. So change is inevitable, right? Whether it's known or unknown, planned or unplanned. All of a sudden, stuff just happens. Our job as leaders is not to flinch. This is a big part of being a leader and knowing how a leader should respond and not react in various situations. In the particular situation of chaos, everyone's going to be somewhat emotional and panicky, and people's thinking becomes cloudy and impaired, and their reactions will most likely be a knee-jerk reaction. Leaders don't have that luxury. So what do I mean when I say leaders can't flinch? Well, for me, it comes down to these 4 strategies. Number 1, be calm. Look, you can't control what's happening, but you can control how to respond to it. Stay calm and retrieve as much accurate information as you can. Most of the time when chaos strikes, people get antsy and thoughts start to get the best of them, and false information spreads like wildfire. Being calm is very important as far as being able to make smart decisions and reporting the facts correctly. Being calm also provides an example to the rest of the team and hopefully inspires them to keep their cool and keep their heads as well. So basically, you're leading by example. If you exude calmness, then they will feel calm.
Exactly.
That way we can do what we need to do.
Yep.
Nobody's panicking and just blurting out false information and adding fuel to the fire. We can all do what we need to do and be successful.
Right.
So number 2, refocus everyone and explain the content. Whether it's COVID-19 virus that has hit and changed the way we work, or it's a sudden massive layoff, you have to refocus everyone and explain to the best of your ability and knowledge what's happening and why the change is taking place. The biggest contribution to anxiety for a lot of people in this position is the lack of not knowing. If you can quickly corral your people and communicate upfront and honest information in full context of the what and the why, that can make all the difference in itself. Explain to them the logic behind the changes due to the chaos as best you can. Empathize with them. And then get it out. Say that right there. Empathize with them and make them aware that you were right there with them, and answer any questions that they may have the best you can. Being honest and being upfront is the best remedy that you can have. Number 3, own the new direction and change your plans. Your job now is to cast the new vision or direction to your team. You need to be crystal clear on the new direction and goals, as well as how you plan to achieve them. In a situation like this, time for effective change management has passed. We can't worry or ponder on how we did things in the past. And I don't know about y'all, but I know a lot of times when somebody new comes in, well, at my last job, this is how we did. We're not at your last job.
Right.
This is how.
People so good. Why you here?
So we can't worry about how we did things in the past. The situation and terms are different now, and you have to rely on the trust that you built with your team to work things out and power through. Make them aware that you know this is a bit scary and possibly frustrating, but that working together, you can all get through it. And last but not least, remain positive.
Right.
Having a positive outlook and mindset is a must in situations like these. You have to remind your team that even though the chaos shook us up and we've had to make some changes in our course of action, it shouldn't stop us from still being productive and effective. We just have to find another way of going about it. The mindset at this point is imperative. It starts at the top. If you don't believe in what you're saying, don't think they will. Work on reigniting the team's fire and passion in the new change. one of the hardest challenges you'll face as a leader is leading your team through a crisis or chaos. And most importantly, what you say and what you do matters.
Boy,
So
you
these
need
are
to
the four
send that to
strategies
the.
that I would suggest when leading in the midst of a chaos.
You need to forward this to Washington.
Oh boy, they
See,
all
look,
train
see,
leadership
look,
training up there.
see,
I would do
see,
it free of charge for them. But
see everybody.
right. Well, folks, that's it for me. If you would like any leadership development training, team building, coaching, or diversity training, please do not hesitate to contact me. You can reach me at 678-571-2773, or you can email me at chad@chadbumgarner.co. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading? And with that, we are moving on to Black History. Mike, bring us
Yes,
some
those
history,
who want
man.
to reach me, you can reach me at 777-9311.
What?
All right.
Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum.
What? Baby.
What's your phone?
What's your phone number?
They don't know nothing about that.
Nah. They
It's
got to
showing
Google
our
that.
age.
I know, right?
They will have to Google that. They do not know.
All right. So today we're going to be speaking on a guy by the name of Dr. Cornelius Golightly. He was born May 23rd, 1917 in Waterford, Mississippi. He entered Alabama's Talladega College at 17 and became an academic superstar. He was one of a handful of black students that went on in 1938 and participated in the Intellectual Olympics. Yes.
Sound like debate team to me, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. And he was the object of glowing praise.
Not the object.
The object. Object. Okay.
I am at a loss of words. I am bereft of utterances.
Oh my goodness, I'm flabbergasted. He earned both a master's and a doctorate in philosophy. He taught at Howard University for a short time, and then he went on to Olivet College in Michigan. He was the first black philosopher to join that staff and that faculty.
Wow.
Golightly was involved in civil rights. He was the first black to win a citywide election at the Milwaukee School Board in 1961.
Wow.
In 1969, he was the first black philosophy professor at Wayne State University. In 1973, he was the first black president of the Detroit Board of Education.
Wow.
Whoa.
He died in 1976 of a brain hemorrhage at the age of 58. But in 1982, Detroit Public Schools opened the Golightly Career and Technical School in his honor.
That's
Wow.
all right. I
Wow.
felt like I heard about him before. You said his name was Golightly?
Yeah, probably heard about it last year.
For you that are watching and listening, that's an inside joke between the kings. That's man.
That brother put in some work.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it did.
Yeah.
And once again, it's just those things that you never hear about or that become overlooked, shall we say,
Exactly.
purposely.
Let's see, that brother needs to be talked about during Black History Month.
Yeah. But
Instead
they're not
of
going to do that. They're going to talk about the safe people to talk about. You hear him talk about Martin Luther King all day. Ain't heard him say nothing about Malcolm X, though, hey.
No,
I would like to
But-
do I would like to do one Black History Month where it's all new people. And we got enough to do that.
oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. Oh,
Every
Lord, yeah.
day there should be at least 5 new people that we hear about. I don't want to hear the same ones. because
You've
then
heard
it
the
gets
same
old.
ones for 13, 12, 13 years.
Yeah, it gets old, and we get numb to that, and it's like all these black people in the world, and these only three that did something.
Yeah, Harriet Tubman,
Rosa
Martin
Parks.
Luther King.
And what's so funny about Dr. King is they couldn't stand Dr. King.
Right.
They
Yeah.
despised Dr. King.
Yep.
And they didn't love him and died. Until just like Muhammad Ali. They
I was just
despised
going to say,
Muhammad Ali.
like Muhammad Ali.
They despised Muhammad Ali until he couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Once he stopped talking, oh my gosh, we love him. We love him. But when he was out there affecting change and being radical,
Nah.
yeah, I mean, he was hated. So I mean, but man, I just appreciate you, Mike, every week, man, bringing somebody new to the table that none of us have heard about, man. It's great, man.
I appreciate that, Mike. Always, like I say, after these Black History moments, it makes you walk a little straighter, put your back a little taller, man, because it's
man.
These are the people, these are the shoulders that we stand on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? These are the shoulders that we stand on, man, with pride.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
And it's good that we need to teach our kids to let them see.
You know,
philosopher, you can be a doctor, you can be a scientist, you can be anything you want to be.
All right.
Literally.
You know, my mom, her family's from Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she grew up at. That's where she was born, I think. That's where she grew up at. But I was sitting there talking to my mother one day. It's not been too long ago. And see, my mom used to go to church with Medgar Evers.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the type of history
right
that we need to be hearing.
Right.
It's just like KRS-One said in a lecture one day. He said the true history you need to be hearing is from your grandparents.
I agree.
Yes,
Not
sir.
about who invaded what. That means nothing to us. We're history right now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The best history lesson you could get is from the older people in your family.
That's it.
Because they're going to tell you the unadulterated truth.
So no.
Yeah, because they was there.
I can't spell unadulterated.
Right. That's first
but I said
count.
it. Do what?
I said, yeah, like people saying, he said, because they was there. I said, yeah, that's first eye count.
Yeah, they were there. Yeah. Yeah.
They lived.
Yeah, man. It's, I just enjoy your brother when you bring out these names that, like I said, nobody talks about or people overlook, or because, like you said, Chad, we are not a monolith.
That's right.
Our branches spread
Vernon Jones
deep and
showed us
wide.
that.
Wow. Okay.
Well.
Okay. Well. I know, right? Ooh, my goodness gracious! Wow.
He chapped my hide.
Oh, I chapped your hide. Ooh, listen to Mr. HOA. Chapped his hide even.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm going off on a side note, but it was just a pet peeve of mine. I mean, how you gonna be for one party, then you go to the other party to talk about the party that you're a part of?
Well,
for those folk that's not of our persuasion and not of our hue, we call the animal in the wild, and they got little they got little dark circles around their eyes, and I ain't gonna call that, but you know the gist of what I'm saying, Kings. We have them. We have those folk that will use us to a point and then stab us in the back. I mean, it is what it is. We've seen it for years. We've seen it for centuries. And we can take it back to the movie Life.
Well,
it's we sick, boss.
We sick, boss.
Yeah. Don't go past this gun line. Yeah, we can take it back to. It's
Django.
Always one in the bunch. Yeah, Django. It's always one in the bunch. It's always one in the bunch, and you hate to see it because as a people we're trying to strive to be great. I mean, but there's always going to be people to stop the movement, and you're not going to be able to stop it. Whether it's Candace Owens or Diamond and Silk or whoever it is, you're not going to stop it, and you're only you're only as good to them as much as they'll use you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you look back, I know we're off on a tangent right now, but if you look, I read an article last week where Candace Owens was upset because the Republicans she wasn't invited to the RNC.
Right.
Why did you expect to be invited? You've been used.
Yeah, you've been
and you know what else? Diamond and Silk trying to sue Fox because they fired them. And I'm like, what did you expect? You were being used.
That's your 15 minutes of fame.
That's your 15 minutes of fame. As long as you act like a buffoon, they're going to praise you. Oh, you're going to get all the TV time.
Yeah.
But now as soon as the use for you is over, y'all should have learned from Omarosa.
Oh, stop playing.
Oh, but it gets better. Do y'all remember the former press secretary, Sarah Huckabee?
Yeah.
She's coming out with a memoir this month on your boy.
Who?
Mr. Donald T. Rump. And she talks about how we way off topic. I'm gonna bring it back. But she talked about in her memoir, real quick, how President Trump met with Kim Jong-un, right? And they hit it off. And there was one point in the meeting where Sarah caught eyes with Kim Jong-un and she said that he winked at her. So she felt uncomfortable. So when she got back in the car with the president and a chief of staff member or whatever, she proceeds to tell the president, yeah, I believe he winked at me. And the president started laughing to me. Oh, he made it past you. Oh, that's it. You're going to North Korea. You got to take one for the team. Your husband and your kids will miss you, but but your country will love you for your service. He said that to her.
Well, what do you expect from somebody who
bingo
fondles people? That wink was nothing compared
grabs
to
him by the hoo-ha.
But yeah, man, there's always one in the camp. There's always one in the camp, and I mean, and it's sad. It really is. It's sad because at the end of the day, you're being played. You're being played, and you're being used for whatever amount of money they're giving you.
Right.
They're big enough to turn. I'm telling you, there's no check big enough to turn my back on my people. I can't do it. I refuse. But like I said, we have some out there that's they come out at night with dark circles around their eyes and fluffy tails and rummage through garbage But anyway, go ahead, Chad.
I won't turn my back, but I'll look this way. Now let me go.
How much you say you giving me?
I ain't gonna turn my back, but I will look over here.
But again, thank you, Mike, for that Black History segment.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother.
Now we get to the part of the show where it's called You Know How We Do. And this is the segment of the show where you hear up-to-date news about us in the entertainment industry as well as Black achievement. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with the entertainment aspect first. And this is kind of neat, guys. Y'all check this out. CBS Network announces plan to commit 25% of development budget to the BIPOC creators and projects. Hold on. I'm going to tell you. Hold on. According to Variety.com, the CBS Network has announced it will commit 25% of its script development budget to projects created or co-created by BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, beginning with the 2021 and 2022 development season. CBS also says it will target having a minimum of 40% BIPOC representation in their writers' rooms beginning next year as well. The goal is to increase that number to 50% the following season. The network will also hire additional BIPOC writers on some of their series for the upcoming 2020 2021 season. And here's a quote from Variety. While steady progress has been made in recent years, both in front of and behind the camera, change needs to happen faster, especially with creators and leadership roles on the show, says George Cheeks, and he's the president and CEO of CBS Entertainment Group. He goes on to say, as a network with ambitions to a unifier and an agent of change at this important time, these new initiatives will help accelerate efforts to broaden our storytelling and make CBS programming even more diverse and inclusive. Now, news of the commitments comes as the entertainment industry and the United States in general continues to undergo a racial reckoning following massive civil unrest sparked by the death, of course, of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police officers. Under former CBS CEO Leslie Moonves, the company has been frequently criticized for lagging behind competitors in terms of diversity and inclusion on both its broadcast network and in its executive ranks. Last year, former CBS executive Whitney Davis published a piece with Variety about the quote-unquote white problem at the company at large.
Wow.
So big ups for CBS for trying to make that change and put more people of color as far as writers and programs into their rotation starting next year. Yes, sir.
Nah, I just wanted to throw this out there.
Throw it.
It was more or less on the entertainment part. Back when you were doing entertainment. Did y'all know that Tyler Perry is now a billionaire?
Yes, I saw that this morning.
Yeah, I read that yesterday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From homeless to a billionaire.
Yes, sir. Just want to throw that out there. Proud of him.
And I like the fact that he did it his way and he didn't have to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, eventually he did try to go to Hollywood with his plays, but they act like they didn't want to, deal with him. So he said, you know what, I'll just do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the plays. He went on what they call the Chitlin circuit.
Yeah.
Did plays. The black folks loved him. He took that money, reinvested in himself. Did movies, turned it into movies, reinvested in himself. Bought studio lots, kept doing it. And I'm glad he gave everybody, as far as people of color, a blueprint on how to make this thing happen. It's going to take a lot of time, sacrifice, perseverance, but he just showed you how to go from homeless to a billionaire. He just showed us how to do it. Now it's all a matter of fact of if we want to do it.
Yep.
I got a question.
Serious as cancer?
George, you said the guy's name was George Cheeks, right?
Yes.
Is that the same Mr. Cheeks that's with the Lost Boys, or no?
I think that's his uncle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because this one right here is Big Cheeks. The one in the Lost Boys is Little Cheeks.
Okay. Love, peace, and happiness, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Renee, all that.
That brother said Renee on there.
Oh my goodness.
Boy, people that don't look like us, they're gonna be like, what is going on? There's a lot of inside jokes going on, y'all. We apologize for not being professional today. It's just one of those days. We apologize. Moving on with the entertainment. Now, this is the one I was teasing y'all with last week.
Right.
All right. Oprah Winfrey and Lionsgate joined forces with journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones and the New York Times to adapt the 1619 Project into films, television, programming, and other content. This is huge, and I'm excited about it, and I cannot wait for this to happen. The Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones and the New York Times have chosen Lionsgate Studios to be the home for a wide-ranging partnership to develop Miss Hannah-Jones' landmark issue of the New York Times magazine, The 1619 Project, and hit New York Times podcast, 1619. Wow. Yeah, and I went out and checked the podcast too. They pretty much just took the stories and put it in an audio format. Really nice. Really nice. As part of the groundbreaking venture, Lionsgate has partnered with Oprah Winfrey as a producer who will provide stewardship and guidance to the development and production of the 1619 Project. Lionsgate, the New York Times and Miss Winfrey will join forces with Miss Hannah Jones, who will serve as the creative leader and producer in developing feature films, television series, documentaries, unscripted programming, and other forms of entertainment, enlisting world-class Black creative voices to help adapt her celebrated series chronicling the ways that the original sin of slavery in America still permeates all aspects of our society today.
Yep.
Jones' colleague at the Times Magazine, Caitlin Roper, who was also an editor of the 1619 Project and head of scripted entertainment at the Times, will also help produce on this project. And one of the most impactful and thought-provoking works of journalism of the past decade, the Times Magazine's 1619 Project was a landmark undertaking that connected the centrality of slavery in history with an unflinching account of the brutal racism that endures in so many aspects of American life today. It was launched in August of 2019 on the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first enslaved Africans in the English colonies that would become the United States. And it examines the legacy of slavery in America and how it shaped all aspects of society, from music and law to education and the arts, including the principles of our democracy itself. One side note, the boat that actually brought the first slaves over in 1619 was made here in the United States. Just thought I'd throw that in. Miss Hannah Jones created and was the architect of the initiative at the Times Magazine with contributions from Black authors, essayists, poets, playwrights, and scholars, comprising a special issue of the magazine and a special section in the print edition of the New York Times, produced in collaboration with the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, as well as a 5-part podcast that topped the Apple Podcast charts. Again, a very good podcast. I'd admonish you all to go out there and take a listen to those 5-part podcasts. One of the Times' most widely read pieces of journalism last year, the 1619 Project, has been discussed in the Senate. Is being adapted into a series of books with One World, a division of Penguin Random House, which is a book publication, obviously, and is already changing the way that American history is being taught in schools. We took very seriously our duty to find TV and film partners that would respect and honor the work and mission of the 1619 Project, that understood our vision and deep moral obligation to doing justice to these stories. Through every step of the process, Lionsgate and its leadership have shown themselves to be that partner, and it is a dream to be able to produce this work with Ms. Oprah Winfrey, a trailblazer and beacon to so many Black journalists, says Ms. Hannah Jones. She also goes on to say, I'm extremely excited for this opportunity to extend the breadth and reach of the 1619 Project and to introduce these stories of Black resistance and resilience to even more American households. From the moment I read the 1619 Project, this is Oprah now, from the moment she read the project and immersed herself in the author's transformative work, she was moved and strengthened, by her empowering historical analysis. She's honored to be a part of Nicole's vision to bring this project to a global audience. So,
huge, man.
Big us. We are about to rewrite history the right way.
Exactly.
And I'm happy about it, but don't think it's not gonna come without some resistance. But
it's been since day one, since they released it. It's been white educators and white historians trying to say that she's lying and it didn't happen this way and this, that, and the third. I mean, they've been doing it since, like a week after it was released in last August. I mean, they haven't stopped. I mean, if you follow her on Twitter, I follow her, Miss Jones, on Twitter, and it's unrelenting. These white educators who are saying that, this is not right, this is not correct, it happened this way and that way and yada yada yada. Truth hurts.
It does.
hey, truth hurts, man, and it is what it is.
A hit dog a holler.
Want it holler every time.
Every time.
Yep.
Every time. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm looking forward to
Sir.
next year because I'm eager to see these stories put in the right context and put in history books. So we'll just send our prayers up for her and the production crew and hope that all goes well.
Exactly.
Now, let's move on to the achievement side. Let me back up. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the only black woman in the United States who owns her own bank. One black woman has managed to defy all the odds and is now the only black woman to own and operate a banking institution in the United States. I give you Kiko Davis. She is a major stockholder of the First Independence Bank as a trustee of the Donald Davis Living Trust, the 10th largest African American owned bank in the country. In addition to running the bank, Davis is also the founder and president of the Don Davis Legacy Foundation to immortalize the legacy of her husband, Donald Davis, and also works as the managing director of Groovesville Productions and Publishing, LLC, which controls the rights of several Grammy Award-winning music catalogs. Davis says she gained leadership skills by watching other black women take on senior roles and running their own organizations. And she goes on to say, we have an innate warrior spirit, and it makes us inherently effective at leading and at winning. Strength, courage, intelligence, and analytical ability are hallmarks of any great leader. However, a warrior spirit goes beyond just that, explains Davis. We possess a level of empathy for people in general with a higher level of sensitivity towards women and minorities. Oftentimes, it's a skill set that unfortunately some men and non-minorities differently. I believe in order to lead people effectively, you must be able to understand them, or at least want to. Big ups to Miss Kiko Davis owning her own bank.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
And as we continue on with the achievement, what you say, Mike?
I ain't saying
Hold on.
nothing.
Hold
Oh,
on,
okay.
Chad. Now, what I know you said something about her owning music catalogs. Did you see which ones? Who catalogs does she own?
It did not specify the
Oh,
artists.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it just says several. Yeah. But moving right along with the achievement side for us, Eric Moses becomes NASCAR's first black track president. And might I also add that he is my frat brother and a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Let me just throw that in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric Moses, a veteran
Yeah.
sports executive and seasoned venue management leader, has been named the first black president of Nashville Speedway. And he says, and I quote, I'm excited to join the team at Dover Motorsports to lead the reopening of the Nashville Speedway, Super Speedway, and bring the excitement of the Cup Series racing in Middle Tennessee. I have long admired NASCAR for its commitment to the fan experience and am thrilled to have the opportunity to create the optimal race day experience that NASCAR fans deserve in a market that has such a rich history with the sport. Nashville is one of the hottest markets for sports, entertainment, and live events in the entire country, and I look forward to working with local stakeholders and partners to leverage that momentum to establish the Super Speedway as a premier live events venue serving the greater Nashville region. Moses has recently served as founding president of the DC Defenders for the XFL, the reboot of the short-lived, football league. Before working with the XFL, Moses' prior roles included serving as the CEO of the DC Sports and Entertainment Commission, where he worked with local and national sports teams in organizing live events in the nation's capital, and as a director of DC Department of Small and Local Business Development.
Oh wow.
We are very excited and fortunate to hire an outstanding leader and executive such as Eric, who has tremendous experience in all areas of sports, events, and live entertainment, said Mike Tatoyan, Executive Vice President and COO of Dover Motorsports. Eric's addition to our company and the outstanding reputation he has in the industry punctuates our commitment to revitalizing Nashville Super Speedway and serving the Middle Tennessee community. My man, Eric Moses,
Fantastic.
NASCAR's first black
Yes,
track
sir.
president.
That's great, man.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's one for the books.
Yeah. That's for real. Yeah. That's huge, man.
That
yeah.
is one for the books.
Especially car. That's
That's
major.
one for the books. Any comments on that, fellas? Anything? I mean,
Just congratulations, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just congratulations.
Always good. Always good.
well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will go into the Bible thought or verse for the week. And so I bring to you James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4.
Mm.
And it reads, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Y'all looking at me like, what did he just say? Let me try this again. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Is that better?
Say this right
King
here.
James version kind of threw everybody off.
Say this right here.
Had to go to the NIV.
Yeah, I had to go to the NIV on you, or the NLT. That King James had y'all looking like, huh?
Everybody had that look on their face like this. Okay.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for this week. Thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And as always, be safe, be blessed, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360. Our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.